love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Yo, what's up, boys? Leighton here, coming at you for an episode of The Insight. I do this episode every Wednesday or Thursday. Just before I get into the episode, I want to take like literally 20-30 seconds and say thank you to everyone that subscribed to this channel, liked the video, shared the video, left your own opinion on a video, everything, because we just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I done an appreciation video last night, but I figured this video and other breakdowns are going to be viewed more than that video, so it would only make sense to appreciate people on a video that's going to be viewed more. So thank you once again for to anyone that's subscribed, liked, and just helped this channel grow. And as always, before we get into the episode, the only thing predictable in MMA is it's unpredictable. I'm not telling people what to bet on here. I'm just simply giving you the direction I'm going to be heading this Saturday. So let's take a look at the odds. So we have Hannah Goldie's price has dropped. She's down to a -150. We've got some close odds. Espinoza and Chanel both -110. Some small underdogs, some big underdogs. The main event price is, you know, kind of getting a little deep for Colby, but I'd say it's pretty fair at the moment. So yeah, good odds overall on this card. And we're going to start with my underdogs. So I'm going to give you 3 underdogs, my favourite 3 underdogs. If you weren't feeling any of these underdogs before I said this, then obviously, you know, take your own opinion into Saturday. Always follow your own opinion. Only acknowledge other people's opinions if you respect them in the game. So we'll start with 2 underdogs. I'm going to give you 3, but we'll start with 2. My first 2 are going to be Kennedy and Mickey Gall. So we'll start with Kennedy. The reason why I'm liking his price, in his debut, I actually took Paul Craig to sub him, and that's what we saw. We saw Paul Craig pull off the submission in the 3rd round. Kennedy just looked very scared, man. He looked very scared in his debut, very cautious and timid. You know, wasn't that aggressive on the feet, and that's pretty much how you beat Paul Craig. Because Paul Craig has learned by now, and we've seen in his last few fights, since the Magomed sub, since that fight, Paul Craig has really been a little bit of a different fighter. He continuously shoots and shoots. He isn't looking to strike at all. And if you don't strike with Paul Craig on the feet, Paul Craig is eventually, you know, he's going to be fighting his fight. So for me, Kennedy, you know, he got octagon jitters. It's a real thing. He looked scared and timid. And he's at a good camp in Fortis. And coming for someone who picked against him in his debut, you know, I'm going to take him here. I think +110, even +115 and +118 on some sites. I think it's a pretty decent price. And I think we're going to see a different Kennedy here. I think he's got a better fight stylistically. If Darko is able to take him down, then credit to him. But if you saw, I was actually at Darko's debut in Germany, and he didn't take down Jeremy Kimball. He stuffed the takedown and ended up on top of him, and had trouble grappling with Devin Clark. But, you know, a lot of people are going to struggle with Devin Clark. So, you know, I'm looking at this fight. It's a pretty close fight on paper. I expect it to be fairly close in the octagon, but +110 for Kennedy, I'm going to take it. With Mickey Gall, so I took Diego Sanchez in his last fight. So for anyone who took Mickey Gall there, let me tell you, this is a completely different fight. Both of these guys, Salim and Mickey, both primarily grapplers. I believe they're both brown belts, or even one could be a black belt at this point, or both could be black belts, I'm not too sure. But they are primarily grapplers. They're looking to grapple and submit you. Now, you look at both of these guys and you say, okay, so when they're not primarily doing what they want to do, i.e. grappling, what are they doing? When you take a look at that, you see Salim likes to throw power shots with his hands. He likes to throw uppercuts, hooks, and overhands. Mickey Gall, when he's not grappling, we can see he's got a nice kicking game. He likes to go high and to the body with kicks. So it's going to be very interesting when these two guys aren't grappling to see who's winning the fight, who's scoring more, who's controlling the octagon, who's landing the more significant strikes, and who's looking better in those moments. But one thing I did notice was Salim grappled for in the first round against Wally Alves, and after that first round, he was very tired grappling. So I know Diego Sanchez was far more powerful than Mickey Gall. He pretty much ragdolled him. But when I look at these two, I see Mickey Gall being the stronger grappler, the better conditioned grappler, and in my own opinion, I give him more probability of winning this fight. Obviously, if it's not in the clinch and Salim's throwing those heavy strikes with his hands and Mickey's trying to work on his kicks, very recently we saw Alex Perez try to plant and throw a calf kick, and Yadong Song threw a power shot at the same time. So if you do throw those kicks naked and your opponent starts to get a good read on you, there's a strong chance you're going to get knocked out. But yeah, that's another close one, and I like Mickey Gall at plus 110, plus 105. So I'll take Mickey. Now, the third underdog I'm going to take, and the reason why I've put this one last is because I'm not too confident on this underdog, but for the price, I'm going to risk it. Now, there's a reason I'm going to risk it. It's because both guys are out of their prime. It's Clay Guida. At plus 150, man, as I'm speaking, his price is dropping. So after this, I'm going to put him in one parlay. Only one parlay for me with Clay Guida. But plus 135, plus 138. Last night he was above plus 150 for me. So Clay Guida, and the reason why both guys are out of their prime, and it's just going to be a very strange fight. Both of these guys are veterans, and it's surprising that they haven't fought already. One thing I will mention, though, that my co-host mentioned as well, which is, a little bit worrying, and that's the only reason I'm going to put Clay Guida in one parlay. Jim Miller is fighting in his own hometown, so, it would be best for Clay to get a finish, and most likely not being a close fight, because it probably goes to Jim. But I just think Clay Guida has a very strange, unorthodox style. And if you can't get a good read on it in the first few minutes, you could possibly, lose that fight or get behind on the scorecards, because he's just crazy, man. It looks like he's had 10 coffees when he's fighting, and even after the fight, man, he's just jumping around like on the mic. He's just got an endless gas tank, Clay Guida. Obviously, Jim Miller is extremely well-rounded with the wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and he's a pure scrapper on the feet. But I just think that one's going to be a real close one. And at plus 135, plus 140, I'm liking Clay Guida. Okay, so we'll move on to parlay builders. Now, I'm not too confident on parlay builders for this card. I'm only going to do about 6 or 7 parlays, not too many for me. But if I was going to give you one strategy this week, it would be a parlay finisher rather than a builder, and I'm gonna pick Colby here. Now, this is only gonna make sense to people who are picking Colby and to the people that believe Colby can win, because, like I said, I'm doing these episodes, and everything I'm saying here is what I'm personally gonna do. I can't really speak for other people or tell you to do this. So when I'm speaking, some things will make sense to you and some things won't. But if you are picking Colby this weekend, personally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end all of my parlays with Colby, because at plus 220, minus 220, it's not extremely heavy, and it's not, it's not a decent price. It's not like minus 140. It's strong, but it's not too strong. Now, the reason why I'm going to end all of these parlays with Colby is because I'm going out on a limb, and I'm sure most people who hear this would agree. I only see Robbie Lawler winning by TKO. Now, if Lawler TKOs him, that's fine, because realistically, if I'm in a good position on come the main event, I'm still going to make money, because Robbie Lawler TKO is probably going to be 3-1, maybe 4-1, hopefully. On that price for a TKO. I haven't got the prop odds yet. I'm sure some Americans have the odds on Robbie Lawler TKO. But if Robbie Lawler's an underdog, then the TKO price has to be a fair price. So realistically, if I end all of my parlays with Colby, and say I have £500 profit coming in, the TKO price of Robbie Lawler can assure me that I make profit if I need to use that. So for that reason, I'm going to use Colby Culverton this week as my parlay finisher. And if I'm in a position where a lot of money is riding into the main event, I'm going to cover the Robbie Lawler TKO. Okay, so moving on to my most confident pick. Now, this is a tough one because if I'm putting Colby in all of my parlays and finishing him, I'm fairly confident that he could win. You know, I don't want to have to use the cover on Robbie Lawler, and I only will use it if there is a significant amount of profit coming in. So it's hard to pick the most confident, but I'm gonna take Nasrat. I think this guy looked extremely good in Germany. In his last fight, he was a minus 900. He just looks so good recently, man. Like in Germany against Mark Diakisi, he just looked brilliant, man. His forward pressure, his boxing, he could grapple if he wanted to. Just he looked so good everywhere. Just blew Mark Diakisi out of the water. And you know, I stayed with Mark Diakisi against Joe Duffy. And I just knew Nasrat was just an animal that night, and that was going to be hard, you know, for Joe Duffy to be able to do something like that. But for me, Nasrat, man, he should be able to beat Hakeem Silva. I think Nasrat has very good conditioning, very good boxing, forward pressure is very good, and we've seen in Hakeem's last few fights now that if you can get towards the end of the second and get into that third round, he's puffing a lot. The gas tank is looking close to empty, and you can start to dictate where the fight goes, and all that kind of stuff. So for Nasrat, for me, I think you know, Hakeem could probably finish him in the first round. Hakeem has good jiu-jitsu, and he's a power striker with good combos on the feet. But I think when you get into that second round and towards the end of the second, you know, Hakeem Silva really fades, it appears. So Nasrat for me at minus 229, I have some sites even going up to minus 250. That would be my most confident pick this week. Okay, guys, as always, leave your comments below who your favourite underdogs are, your parlay builders or finishers, and your most confident pick. Alright, guys. Peace.